interestingly enough, let's see what I got here. I'm going to talk about how we're actually expanding our content for Marketing School, because it's a daily marketing podcast. So I think we're about 87, 89-ish million downloads right now. And we focus mainly on operating our business. So he's got MP Digital, I've got Single Grain. And I've always wondered, how do you actually take your daily podcast where we're talking about the latest trends and create blog content for it so we can drive a lot of search traffic? So I'm going to be talking a lot about SEO here. Our backgrounds are both in SEO, but we try to be wide-ranging. So I'm going to talk about how you can kind of enhance and expand your content using AI, so practical business use cases here. And actually, Eric Rivera. Where's Eric Rivera? I can't see.
He's in the back.
Oh, in the back, over there, raising his hand. So you guys should talk to him later. He's super smart about this stuff. But here's what we have going on right now. So I'm going to, let's start over here. So we're doing something called Programmatic SEO. And this is not necessarily something that's new, but it's now available to people like you and me. So when I used to work at a company maybe like 12 years ago, I had an engineering team, I had a product team. We're basically creating a lot of templated pages at scale, right? And what I'm trying to say here is that, for example, we're an ad agency, right? So we are creating hundreds, now thousands of pages that have the keyword agency in it now, and it actually looks like it's solid content, right? So here's a good example right behind me. So Shopify CRO agency dedicated to amplifying your e-commerce success, right? And this is a template that we created. And this is the bottom of it. So you go down, we have sections where like a ChatGPT API, we'll tie it in with the API, and it'll just create unique content for each section. And so now we're creating a lot of these pages that actually look good, and we have pretty good domain authority, and it works. And the little graph that I had over here, like this is a little experiment that we're starting to run, and it's starting to ramp up. And so I go to my team, I'm like, hey, how do we do like 100x more of this, right? And so when you have a graph starting to go up and to the right, why don't you just double down and bet more? And the cool thing is that each of these pages that I'm showing you right now, it'll cost you like a tenth of a penny if you're using ChatGPT 3.5. But if you're using ChatGPT 4, it'll cost you 30 cents. Still a pretty good price, right? So that's what we're doing. Our traffic's starting to ramp up there, and this is the programmatic piece. And so, for example, if you work in SaaS, it's like, well, what pages can you create? Let's say you're HubSpot, right? You would create Salesforce alternatives. That would be one that you'd go for. You would create HubSpot versus Salesforce. That would be another one, right? Or like CRM for affiliate marketing. Right? I don't know, right? I'm just looking at Andy. I felt like saying that. And for the record, for those people that don't know, I used to intern for Andy. It was a long time ago. Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the programmatic piece, and we're basically creating a topical map, which means we're creating a lot of keywords. And we'll have someone do the research, and then someone will kind of check to make sure the keywords align, and then we'll create these pages, and we'll try to create like 50 pages a day. So I'll pause for a second. Neil, do you want to add anything before I continue my monologue?
Just make sure the content's really good, because if it's shit and you just throw up 1,000 pages like that, you'll actually see your traffic go the other way. It can actually hurt you. So you have to make sure it's either high quality or you don't do it at all.
That's good. All right. Yes, Casey. Do we look ugly?
Can I have you guys pick up and move yourselves like 2 feet so Neil's not right in front of the slide?
Yeah, get out of the way, man.
That was like 2 inches.
I was going to make a joke around that, but.
All right, better.
Yeah. All right. So look, on the screen, Neil, you can see your face and my face over there. And this is tied in with Marketing School. So the thing I just showed you guys was programmatic SEO. But what we're doing now with Marketing School is like, okay, well, we want to create this content at scale. Like, we talk about the latest stuff. Google should rank us for talking about the latest stuff. And so a 5 to 10 minute episode, we'll have a tool called riverside.fm. That's what we use to record. It's pretty good. And they'll take an AI transcription. So they'll give you an AI transcription. That's in the red box over here. And then I'll just ask like a ChatGPT, and we've automated this now, but convert the following text into a blog post with key points as headers. And I just paste the transcription. And then from there, this is the output, how digital marketing will change in 2023 and beyond, blah, 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 blah. And then at the very bottom over here, we run it through a duplicate content checker, like Hugging Face, and you can see it says 95% real. And that's all it is, and that's what we do. 70% of the content will be created by the AI, and then we'll have a human in the loop, add in pictures, links, and videos, or whatever it is exactly, and that works out well. And a cool thing, before we move on to talking about trends, is that I was talking to our developer. I was like, hey, what are we doing about internal linking? He's like, well, I've taken all your keywords that are ranking number 4 to number 10 that have the keyword agency in it, and we're just automatically internally linking them, right? Because internal linking matters if you're going to make hundreds or thousands of these pages. So I know some of the stuff I might be saying might be going over your head a little bit, but the key thing here is that this SEO stuff isn't dying. Still good traffic. I think the majority of your traffic comes from SEO, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. What percent?
I don't know.
All right, well, majority. But that's a big piece of it. And here's a cool tool. I found this tool over here. It's called Chatbase. I think it's chatbase.ai or chatbase.co. It will take all the data you have and it'll make a custom chat GPT for you. So you can make your own Andy Mackinson LLM, whatever you want to do. And there's a lot of cool stuff that Amazon's doing as well with their machine learning kind of out-of-the-box solutions. You can check that out. I recommend that you do. I think Samir, raise your hand. Right there. So Samir raising his hand. So he dedicates, I think, 2 days a week, right, just focused on AI. And you have a big business to operate, right? And so feel free to talk to Samir about it. I'm just trying to point out people that you should talk to at lunch. But I think we'll leave that. I have a lot of other stuff to talk about. We can talk about, here, Neil, we talked about this on the pod, but why do you think when I asked ChatGPT, what are the best marketing podcasts, why do you think we popped up number 1?
Because it's using a lot of the same factors that Google and Bing use for their SEO. Like things like domain authority and things like how many backlinks and things like how many mentions it's getting around the web. So they're using a lot of the same factors in traditional SEO that they would use to start ranking things on ChatGPT or Bard.
Cool. All right, well, that's my monologue. So Neil, what are the cool stuff that you're experimenting with right now?
Not much. I used to do a lot of these experiments, and then what I found is I'm
talking about trends.
Trends?
Yeah.
So I'm not really leveraging any trends right now. I don't think I'm leveraging any. Yeah, definitely what you guys want to hear. Yeah, but that's old now.
That's what it might not be old to them.
Yeah, so it's like I do software as a lead gen in which, so let's actually first go back with AI. Everyone is using AI. I'm actually on the other side in which I'm starting to create more content manually and use less AI. The big reason for that is how many people really want to read AI-based content? They want to read unique content that has amazing, experience and nuggets that people are talking about that haven't been discussed before on the web.
Do you give a shit if this hotel's built by a robot or a human?
No. But I'm not in the hotel building business. Right?
Never mind.
I want my content to be super unique that provides someone with insights and nuggets that they wouldn't get somewhere else on the web. All AI is doing is just regurgitating the same old shit that's been on the web for a long time. It's a modern version of an article spinner. I'm not saying there's not more to AI, but that's why we're actually creating content manually, because we think everyone, including a lot of people in this room, how many of you guys here use AI to create your content? Raise your hand. So maybe half the room, maybe a little bit less, 40%. Nothing wrong. But I believe that more and more people are going to pick up on that trend, which is going to create tons of Me Too content. When I mean Me Too, I'm talking about like Where's Waldo? You know that dude in the red and white striped shirt? Now when you think about Where's Waldo, everyone's going to look like Waldo. And there's not going to be all the other random people. In essence, everyone's going to look alike. That's why we're creating content manually, because we think that makes us stand out. We think that'll be the new version of the quote-unquote Waldo. So that's the first thing we're doing. The second thing is when it comes to AI, the big trend that we're using is data is becoming everywhere, and it's becoming hard to analyze. So check this out, okay? I want you guys to really look around the room and think about this in an honest way. So raise your hand if you log into Google Analytics at least once a week. Raise your hand, okay? Now, all the people who raise your hand, how many of you guys log into Google Analytics at least once a week and do something actionable with that data, like make a change to the business based on the data? Raise your hand. One person, 2 people. Anyone else? You're in a room full of marketers. That's the problem right now is data is becoming harder to analyze and compute because of all the changes that are happening with privacy and even changing to like a cookieless world or the iOS changes. So if you can have AI start helping you analyze your data and give nuggets to your team on what changes you can make, we're seeing that there's the biggest win right now. And when I mean what changes you can make, imagine how much money is being spent on ads right now. Did you know Google does around $160 billion a year in paid ad revenue? Facebook's over $100 billion. How much money do you think is actually wasted? You guys do marketing? Raise your hand if you've ever wasted $1 on marketing or campaigns that go wrong. All right, almost everyone. The point I'm making is, what if AI can help you stop the wastage earlier? That's where it's useful. See, right now everyone wants to focus on AI and content generation. I could have gone to the ProBlogger job board and paid some dude in India $15 to write my article anyways. Grammar may not be great, but still, $15, maybe $20, $30 in the United States. Where's the real savings there? Oh, scale it up while you save 10, 20 grand, whoop-de-doo. Oh, you're spending millions of dollars on paid ads? These few tweaks and insights just helped you save $500,000 a month? That's real savings. That's what we're starting to use AI for. The other big trend, and still not too many people are on this kick, how many of you guys focus your business just in the United States? Raise your hand. United States or Canada, because I know there's quite a bit of Canadian people. All right, majority. How many of you guys focus on outside the United States or Canada? Raise your hand. Few people. How many of you guys focus your business globally? Like more than 10 countries, at least. All right, maybe like 15, 20% of the room. That's where the big money opportunity is right now. If you look at any Fortune 1000 company, almost all of them are global. You make your money just by expanding to the rest of the world. It's the simplest thing in marketing. It's not competitive. People don't do it. I don't get why. To rank a website in Brazil is like 10 times easier than it is in the United States. To do paid ads in Brazil is 10 times easier than the United States, just less competition. You may not make as much, but you don't spend as much. The GDP in a lot of these countries are high. Go look at how much of Apple's revenue comes from the United States. If you start taking out the United States and China, they make a lot of revenue they make very little amount of revenue from one country, but all those countries combined make up the majority of their revenue. It's all those little, slices that really add up. And I think that's where people are getting wrong. They just focus on the US because they think, oh, that's where the money is, or Canada or China. But the money is in all these small countries that no one is focusing on. There's not a ton of competition. It's easy to penetrate, a ton of money to be made. We went from expanding we started the year in 6 countries. We're now already in 17 countries. The marketing industry has probably got hit one of the hardest. When things are good, people turn on marketing really fast. When things get bad, it's the first thing they cut. Our international growth has been a little bit more than 60% year to date over the previous year. Even in a terrible economy, we're growing like fire, in all these other countries that no one cares about. People look at places like India as a poor country, fastest growing region by far, right? Like we're able to generate millions and millions and millions of dollars in regions like that where people would think that, hey, they're poor and there's not much money to be made. But that's not the case. The dude here is selling G-Wagons there, right? And they cost more in India than they do here. I came out of the airplane in Delhi on the airport. I saw Rolls Royces. I'm like, what the heck? Right? Who would have guessed that there's money in all these places? I land in Brazil. When the guy's like, yeah, I'm throwing a conference here. You want to come? I'm like, dude, it's going to be too far. He's like, no problem. Just hop on my helicopter. I'll take you there and I'll take you back. All right. How many people here own a helicopter? Like there's literally money everywhere. I was sitting down with a guy in Brazil who owns a financial company, and he's just like, yeah, Brazil, politically, he was all complaining and stuff like, I'm like, what do you do for fun? He's like, oh, like I like growing wine. I'm like, what do you mean growing wine? Growing grapes and then producing wine? He's like, something like that. He's like, I have a whole winery. I'm like, where's your winery? He's just like, Italy. I'm like, how big is he? He's like, I don't know, it's really big. I've only been there once or twice. I was like, oh, okay, you're just a rich dude with a winery. And, it's like, you look at people like him, it's like, there's a lot of money to be made in countries that most of us don't really think about and that aren't on our radar.
Cool. Chase, Mike, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool.
Yes?
Yeah, I didn't know if my mic was hot anymore. Chase, can you keep my mic hot, please? I don't know if it's dying or not. A couple other things I'll show you. How many people here have a sales team? Raise your hand. Like, was that half? Okay, so this is something that you can do. It won't cost you a lot of money, but we both have ad agencies, right? So when leads come in, we want our salespeople to not just be order takers, but we want them to come with insights, because sales is about building confidence at the end of the day. And so this is an example of a lighting company, Lumens. So they came through and they actually asked for something around Pinterest. And so we tied this in with Zapier, with ChatGPT. So you didn't actually even need to know how to code to do this. And it came up with 3 marketing ideas here. So utilize Pinterest shop to look feature, blah, blah, blah. Create a board featuring different styled living rooms with clickable product tags leading to the product page. Implement Pinterest promoted pins targeting specific home decor interests and demographics. So now the salespeople are there to also help you build confidence as well. And this is a simple, practical use case that won't cost you much, if anything. And I think anybody can sign up for an OpenAI API. I don't know if Thomas is here. We won't bring up that one. We'll bring up this one over here. So from like a customer success standpoint, we might need to go back around. How many of you have like a customer success or client services team? Okay, so like half again. Let me see. So over here, where did I get stuck? Sorry. I'm almost back. Whatever, I'll just explain it. So what we do is we have a conversational intelligence tool called Gong. And Gong will join, like you see these note takers that join your Zoom meetings, right? So it'll take the notes from the Zoom meeting and it'll actually score the call on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of the sentiment, right? So we actually have these appear on sales calls and also on client services calls, where it will be scored and it will note the action items. It will note if the client was angry or dissatisfied or whatever, and then it will actually put this into a spreadsheet and you can see each week how a client is doing. So now you can't, in the client services business, if I'm working and I'm not doing a good job, like I'm incentivized to sandbag and just want to protect I want to CYA, like, or cover my ass, CMA, right? But if you run the company, you just want to do a good job at the end of the day for your customers, because that's what it's all about. And so if it's less than a 7 out of 10 for 3 weeks in a row, then our client services team will come and say, hey, like, what's going on with this? And that way we have a checks and balances system. So, as long as there's humans in the loop, like we're going to make mistakes, right? We're prone to making mistakes. So you have a machine that can help you do a little better there. So that's what works as well. What else we got?
I'll give you guys 3 takeaways and then we can answer any of your questions that you guys have. And I talked about one of them. If you were to leave this event and you're going to do 3 things, I would, 1, expand globally. Start off by just translating your content. No joke. You can use ChatGPT or whatever AI you want for that. It's free, cheap, dub it, whatever you want to end up doing. You'll just get more eyeballs in different regions. And then once you have the eyeballs, eventually sell them your products or services. The second one is figure out what you can offer for free that people are paying for. This is the silliest thing ever, but the world is a race to the bottom in marketing. Everyone is trying to offer more shit for cheaper. Just beat them all and just go free and gobble up the leads and sell them something else that's bigger. A great example of this is, if I was in this, have you guys heard of payroll software like Paychex? Paychex is a $40 billion company. If you work at a company, you know what else people want other than being paid on time? What's another common request that people want if they work for you? Benefits, insurance, right? What's the main one in benefits? Health insurance. You know how big United Healthcare is? It's 10 times the size of Paychex. You know how expensive it is to create payroll software? Anyone want to guess? Pennies on the dollar. So what should someone do? How do you penetrate a market? Oh, I'm going to give payroll software for free, and then when they want to give their employees health insurance, they can click a few buttons and then I can offer that.
Weren't you going to do that?
Yeah, I don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Just offer shit for free that people are used to paying for. And Paychex is like a $40, $50 billion company the last time I checked. I think United Healthcare is like a $300-400 billion company. United Healthcare does probably 10, 20 times more in revenue than Paychex. Give away shit for free and charge for something that's more. If we give away SEO software for free, we charge for consulting, which makes us more. The third thing that I would tell you is you got international expansion, you got give away shit for free, and the third thing is almost everyone in here has money. You guys don't need to figure shit out. The best way to grow is actually hire people who have already done it before. And the way you do that is you go to LinkedIn, you go see who's worked for at least 2 of your competitors. They need to have been promoted multiple times, because everyone will tell you they're the best thing since sliced bread and they're going to change your business, but a bunch of it's a bullshit. But if a company that they work for promoted them multiple times, what does it mean? They're probably good. You guys agree with that? No one just gets promotions if they suck. But sometimes they do. So that's why you look for someone who's worked for 2 of your competitors, because if they work for 2 of your competitors and got promoted multiple times at both those competitors, what does it mean? They probably are good. And if they help them grow, and they did that specific job that you're trying to solve at your company and you hire them, what do you think they're going to do for you? They did it twice, they'll probably be able to do it the 3rd time successfully. Once could be luck, twice usually not, 3rd time's a charm. That would be my advice for you guys.
I'll leave with one more thing, and then we can throw this box around so you can start to raise your hand. And I'll actually use you as an example too. So this whole concept of newsletters are coming back. So you've seen one of our clients, Axios, they sold for about 553 million. And HubSpot, The Hustle, they sold to HubSpot for 27-ish million or so. And then Morning Brew, they're also a newsletter. They sold for maybe 70 or 80 to Business Insider. And now they're already doing 70, 80 a year in revenue. I think at some point we'll probably have one of the co-founders of Morning Brew come to this thing, maybe next year. But I have a couple of videos and we have a couple of blog posts on newsletters, and we're just seeing the traffic go up and to the right now. It's because it's becoming interesting again. And so we've talked about on the pod the concept of a discovery engine. So a discovery engine might be like your short form, your TikToks or whatever. And your relationship engines might be your email list or YouTube long form or podcast where you can develop a deeper relationship. I mean, this is kind of a relationship engine as well. And so I've become more and more intrigued by newsletters. We've always had one over the years, but our main copywriter, to Neil's point, having a guy that's been there, done that. He used to work for a company called Agora, multi-billion-dollar publishing company, and he's just a really good copywriter. And so we're just like, how do we create a much better newsletter now where it's like 5 to 6 times we're sending per week, and we're just going to drive everything to that. And then whatever we have in a newsletter, it's just promoting our own product services. We don't need to sell ads or anything like that. And so I think the bar for a newsletter is really low. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a way to kind of ring the cash register, whatever it is that you're selling. Neil, how many times do you publish for your newsletter a week? 3?
3 times.
Yeah, so he's been doing it consistently. He just doesn't talk about it much, but he's been very consistent, probably over the last 10, 12 years, yeah? Yeah, so it's a money drive. And how big is your email list now?
I just scrubbed it today. So it was 1.5 something million. I just deleted 200,000 emails, but knowing my email provider, they'll only delete 30,000 of it, and they'll make me do it 10 times to scrub the list so that way they can keep charging me more money.
There you go, see? And Neil likes to pay. One thing, Syed actually back there, raise your hand, Syed. So we were having a lunch the other day, and he was talking about, there's 2 tools here, right? Talking about dubbing and language translation. I don't think I've shown you this yet, because Syed showed us, but it's rask.ai, rask.ai, and then also brask.ai with the B in front. And they will, let's say we're talking right here, they will dub it into Spanish, Hindi, Chinese,
But how
French.
much money?
Cheap. I think it's cheap. Syed, is it cheap?
$1 a minute.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like $1 a minute.
Oh,
Yeah, from $500 to 500 minutes.
there we go.
You can't negotiate at that scale? That's a lot of money.